There's a reason why The Lion King still slaps, even though it came out before some viewers were even born. It's because its themes are universal and timeless, and the movie does such an amazing job of showing them that audiences of all ages can relate to. We've made videos like this before, where we break down why The Lion King is so good. So let's get into it. Simba's trauma. In the opening minutes of the film, we see Simba frolic around Pride Rock with his father, King Mufasa. It's clear these two have a great relationship. They play fight, and Mufasa even lets Simba ride on his back. The cinematography used here emphasizes their closeness as father and son, with the camera often being placed at eye level with Simba, so we can see things from his perspective. However, almost immediately after this, the tone shifts, and Simba gets separated from his dad during a wildebeest migration. After panicking for a bit, he comes across a gorge and sees a familiar shape in the distance. Assuming it's his father, he happily runs towards the shape, only for it to suddenly turn around and reveal that it's actually Scar, Mufasa's jealous brother. To make matters worse, when Mufasa finally shows up, Scar tricks him into thinking the migration was stampeding towards Simba. So in a last-minute effort to save his son, Mufasa heroically jumps in front of the herd and pushes Simba away from the stampede. This causes him to fall off the cliff, while Simba runs away traumatized. Mufasa is trapped under a boulder and dies. Mufasa's death, plus Simba's guilt. Now that Mufasa is dead, Scar has taken over the pride and brainwashed everyone into thinking it was Simba's fault that their king died. This brings us to one of the most iconic scenes in cinematic history, the "It's Your Fault" scene. After Simba is tormented by this guilt, he runs away from his pride and goes into exile. I won't spoil what happens next, because you probably already know it, but basically, the movie follows Simba's journey to adulthood as he learns to overcome his guilt and trauma from the past, and ultimately reclaim his birthright as the true king of the Pride Lands. White Paw's twist. As much as this movie is about Simba, it's also about his inner turmoil. He experiences intense feelings of guilt and trauma, and is incredibly overwhelmed by them. When Simba is young, he doesn't understand why he's being blamed for his father's death. But as he grows older, he realizes that Scar manipulated him and wants to make him feel guilty so he can take over Pride Rock. Simba struggles with this revelation and grapples with the idea that someone would do something so terrible just to get what they want. It took me until I was an adult to really understand how messed up this was. And when I finally did, it made me appreciate the movie so much more. Now, anytime I feel like I'm carrying unnecessary guilt or trauma from my past, I just need to remind myself that it's not my fault, and no one deserves to be treated the way Simba was by Scar. Hakuna Matata vs. Responsibility. After running away from home, Simba meets two new friends, Timon and Pumbaa, who take him in and teach him the ways of the Hakuna Matata, a carefree lifestyle free from worries and responsibilities. Although they mean well, this ends up being a huge mistake, as it prevents Simba from maturing and accepting his role as king. On the other hand, we have Rafiki, the wise baboon shaman, who tries to show Simba that although the past may hurt, it's important to acknowledge and learn from it. He says, "The past can hurt, but the way you choose to look at it determines whether it stays in the past or if it ruins your future." This is a very profound statement for a children's movie, and teaches us that in order to move forward in life, we must first confront our past. We can't let our mistakes define us, or else they'll hold us back from achieving our full potential. Nostalgia hook. If you grew up watching this movie, there's a good chance that some of the lessons in it stuck with you as you got older. For example, I remember thinking about Mufasa's words, Everything the light touches is our kingdom, when I was younger. At the time, I didn't really understand what he meant, but it made me think deeply about the world around me, in a way that I never had before. I started to realize that everything in life is interconnected and that we all have a responsibility to take care of each other and the planet. This is a big part of the reason why The Lion King still resonates with people today. It's because the lessons in the film are timeless and can be applied to our lives no matter what age we are. Scar's manipulation. Scar is one of the most iconic Disney villains of all time. And what makes him so fascinating is that he's able to manipulate those around him without using any superpowers or special abilities. Everything he does is rooted in social psychology, from gaslighting Simba to using the hyenas as pawns to overthrowing the pride. Scar is a master manipulator, and it's this skill that makes him such a formidable threat to Simba and the Pride Lands. One of the most insidious ways Scar manipulates others is through gaslighting. He uses this tactic to make Simba question his own memory and perception of reality. For example, after Mufasa dies, Scar convinces Simba that it was his fault that his father died. He tells Simba, "It was your fault, Simba. You killed your father." Over time, Scar's lies start to take root in Simba's mind, and he begins to believe that he's responsible for Mufasa's death. This is a classic example of gaslighting, and it's a very effective way for Scar to control Simba. By making Simba feel guilty and ashamed, Scar is able to keep him from asserting himself and challenging Scar's authority. Instead, Simba runs away from Pride Rock and leaves the kingdom to Scar, which is exactly what Scar wanted. Universal theme. Toxic relationships are something that unfortunately many people can relate to. It could be a family member, friend, or romantic partner. The point is that it doesn't matter how old you are. If you've ever been in a toxic relationship, then you know how damaging it can be. It can make you question yourself and your own self-worth. You might start to believe the negative things they say about you, or feel like you're always walking on eggshells around them. But the truth is that none of this is your fault. You deserve to be loved and respected by those around you. And if you're not getting that from your current relationships, then it might be time to move on. The climactic return. The climax of the movie is the battle between Simba and Scar on top of Pride Rock. It's a showdown that we've been waiting for since the movie began, and it doesn't disappoint. There's lots of action, drama, and it's really well paced. But what makes the climax of The Lion King so powerful is the fact that it's more than just a physical battle. It's a battle between good and evil, between hope and despair, between the past and the future. In many ways, this movie is about Simba reclaiming his identity. When he was a cub, he was happy and carefree, but after his father died, he was filled with guilt and shame. He tried to run away from his problems, but eventually realized that he couldn't escape his destiny. The final battle is a metaphor for Simba's journey of self-discovery. It's not just about defeating Scar, it's about defeating the darkness inside of himself. When Simba finally lets out a war cry and remembers who he is, it's a cathartic moment that we can all relate to. Sometimes we all need a reminder to remember who we are and to believe in ourselves again. Disney magic. Now that Simba has reclaimed his rightful place as king, the circle of life has returned to the Pride Lands, and the movie ends with a reprise of the iconic song, Circle of Life. It's a beautiful way to bring the movie full circle and reminds us that life is a continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The use of dramatic lighting, sound effects, and music in The Lion King is masterful. From the epic battle between Simba and Scar to the heartwarming reunion between Simba and Nala, the movie is filled with moments that stay with you long after the credits have rolled. The Lion King is truly a masterpiece of animation and storytelling. If you want to animate your own videos with dramatic effects, try using a video editing app. Their dramatic effects library has tons of options for adding cinematic flair to your edits, including transitions, backgrounds, and more. The Circle of Life. The Lion King opens and closes with the song Circle of Life, which emphasizes the movie's themes of death and rebirth, as well as the importance of respecting the natural order of things. The movie starts with a sunrise, which symbolizes new beginnings and the endless cycle of life. It also takes place in Pride Rock, which overlooks the entire Pride Lands and is a place where animals come together to socialize and form bonds. This is significant because it represents the interconnectedness of all living things and the importance of community. Your brand, every ending, births a new adventure. Thanks for watching this White Paws tale. If you liked it, please hit the like button and share it with a friend. Subscribe to be notified when we release our next video. Until then, see you later.